Welcome back to Worldview. Hydraulic fracturing of the ground beneath our feet to extract shale gas is a highly controversial method, and becoming more so each day as we see the explosive pace of U.S. drilling now starting to infiltrate the U.K. with almost as little oversight and protections. Joining us on the program today is Frances Jenkins. She's an anti-fracking campaigner here in Wales who came to understand this procedure, as many of us did, by learning of an application to drill in a local farmer's field and then conducting more research on the topic. The more she read, the more concerned she became. Now, her day job is as a pianist and singer, teaching from her home studio in Taffs Wells here in South Wales. She started campaigning for the environment after watching many videos on the thoughtmaybe.com website and was shocked at the complete lack of regard for our planet and our children's futures. Before this, she had little knowledge of the Alberta tar sands disaster area. Then she watched Josh Fox's Gasland and was shocked at the damage being caused in the Marcellus Shale area and thought, well, that's America, they won't do that here. Indeed, part 2 of Josh's documentary aired this past Monday on the US HBO network. And when she learned they were attempting to frack in Lancashire, she became seriously concerned for South Wales, since this is a former mining area. The deeper she dug through public records, she discovered the very land underneath our feet had been sold in the form of PEDL licenses to oil and gas firms, and she was outraged at how little this has been portrayed in the media. So she's been raising awareness ever since. Frances is the creator of www.frackfreewales.org, and with help from other activists in Wales and Somerset, she's pleased that we seem to be making some progress. Frances Jenkins, welcome to Worldview.
Hi, Dennis. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. Now, sunlight's always the best disinfectant, and your group recently had a victory near the village of Lantrissa. Tell us a little bit about that effort.
Well, essentially what we did was we objected to the planning application using information that was given to us by Friends of the Earth, outlining that we believe that these companies need to have radioactive waste licenses, waste groundwater licenses. And we submitted that. About 70 people objected to it, and luckily Rhondda and Taff Council listened to us, and they are deferring the decision on the application to a later date, which doesn't mean that it's been thrown out, which is what we want essentially, but it means that they are at least delaying it so that tests can be done and an environmental agency officer can come to the site and inspect it.
Now, for the benefit of people outside of this region and area, you mentioned that PEDL licenses are being sold underneath our feet. First of all, what is a PEDL license? That's important.
It's a Petroleum Exploration and Development License, and they've been sold for not very much money. I mean, Andy Chiber has told me very much about these. They haven't been sold for very much money to small companies such as Coastal Oil and Gas. And they are basically going out there to test drill and find out if there is exploitable shale gas in the area. But we don't even want them to test drill because we think that that would be damaging to the environment in the ways that many people know about. You know, you've got the seismic activity, the radioactive element of shale gas, the radium being pushed into the water supply. So we're essentially completely against any type of unconventional fossil fuel extraction in South Wales.
Now, the Welsh First Minister, the Labour politician Carwyn Jones, has gone from supporting his party's line of, quote, more study is needed, close quote, to the more cautious support of this unconventional method as a, quote, transitional fuel. Now, I always thought that the Welsh Government was committed to sustainable technology and fuels. What's going on there?
Well, I'm not sure, really. I mean, we had the letter saying that they regard it as a transitional fuel, as you say, which means that I think that they're broadly for it, and they see it as a future energy option for Wales. I think that is quite disappointing, considering that they have got the sustainability figures that they have to meet, because I don't see how they can meet them if there's a leak of methane, for example. I suppose carbon isn't methane, and that's a way of getting around those targets, but methane is 25 times more dangerous than carbon, so it's sort of like 25 steps in the wrong direction as far as I'm concerned.
We're talking with Francis Jenkins of frackfreewales.org.uk on Worldview with Dennis Campbell. Now, Francis, I often talk about the need for corporate transparency and corporate accountability, which is tough when the UK's Tory Chancellor has a gas lobbyist father-in-law, and nothing in this country seems sacred from being exploited for profit. How do you compete in this type of an environment?
It's very difficult. You also have the media bias that seems to be filtrating all sections of the media, obviously the mainstream media. For example, there was a very, very disappointing article in The Guardian this morning saying if you care about the environment, then you should be behind shale gas. Well, that's a juxtaposition as far as I'm concerned. You can't care for the environment and encourage shale gas. What should be done is wind farms, solar farms, geothermal technology. There are other options, and I just don't see how shale gas can be seriously considered in a developed nation like ourselves.
Is their argument that because it produces cleaner burning natural gas, that's the only thing they're looking at as opposed to the other side effects?
Well, there is that argument, but at the same time, I think it's more looking for the profits that are going to be guaranteed by drilling the shale gas, just for the few people, not for the many. And this is the problem with the environmental disaster that will occur after fracking has taken place in South Wales, and coal bed methane as well. There will be economic benefits, but these benefits will not benefit the local community. Most of these jobs that are going to be created are going to be specialist jobs, so not for locals. And coming back to the corporate accountability and responsibility, there is a register of interests at the Houses of Parliament, and I'm wondering whether or not this interest from Lord Brown has been registered. I'm not sure, actually. I think somebody needs to check. But if George Osborne thinks that shale gas is something that is worth it for the UK, then I'm inclined to say no anyway, because obviously the connection with Lord Brown is, well, it's just iffy to me. I can't see how people will accept that as being okay, but we'll see.
You know, you talked about media bias earlier, and I've often found it rather stunning that 97% of climate science is definitely saying that we're reducing too much carbon, we're releasing too much methane into the air, yet the 3% of climate science that is out there debunking it is the one that gets the most attention and almost is given equal time in circumstances where it's certainly not deserving. I mean, how frustrating is that for organizers such as yourself?
Well, it's extremely frustrating. For example, on the BBC Radio 2 Jeremy Vine show, they interviewed Professor Richard Davis, who works at Durham University, and has been accused of so-called frackademia. So Durham University, the department he works for, is sponsored by BP and Shell and the oil industry. So yes, he's been given over £1 million in grants for research by these companies. So, but still, Jeremy Vine brings him on as an expert and gives him a lot of airtime, and then it's just a lot of complaints from viewers following that. But because the man is called Professor, everybody listens to what he has to say, and obviously Radio 2 is such a massive platform that most people driving in their cars listening to it on the day are going to listen to him. It's very, very frustrating.
Well, I just can't imagine this rural heaven in which we all live in and play in being destroyed in the same way the Marcellus shale is fouling Pennsylvania's water and making people ill, all in pursuit of the mighty dollar or the mighty pound. I and so many others want to thank you, Francis, for being with us here, and please keep up the good fight for all of our children.
Thank you very much for having me, and you too, Dennis.
We've been speaking with Wales Fracktivist Francis Jenkins. She's the founder of the website frackfreewales.org.uk, and you can join their Facebook page, Frack Free Wales, where daily dozens of posts exposing the latest abuses by this industry are there for all to see. Reading, though, is not enough. Please join up with these groups, help them educate and inform them, and stop this rape of our natural resources. You're watching Worldview with Dennis Campbell. Stay right here.